powerful businessman. He had the air about him, confidence. He was confident in how he looked, you know. Anyways, and he goes, no, they're not paying any attention to us at all. He goes, so they're not happy and they're not paying attention to us. I said, look at their fingers. Looked at their ring finger, right? Well, they had rings on them, but they were extremely thin banded. Extremely thin and small and barely noticeable. Unlike the gold digging broads I've seen around here that have giant rings, tons of gold or platinum and just loaded with diamonds, and hopefully they're just cubic zirconians. These girls had very thin rings. And I said, do you think they're lesbians? And he goes, I don't know, Dad. He didn't want to believe that. And I said, well, I bet they are. I said, look at them. They're not looking around at any men. They're not looking around at other women. They're extremely dissatisfied. Right? They're not happy. They're in a really rocking place, and they're looking miserable. And they've got very small rings. And he just goes, what does all that mean? I said, well, they're girls, so they don't have a lot of money because there's not a man in the household. They're young, so they just don't have any money. That's why they have such crappy rings. And I don't want to make fun of them for a materialistic thing, but at the same time, I'm going to make fun of them on a materialistic level. If they were with guys, if they had suckered a guy into some sort of relationship / marriage, they would have a bigger ring with a bigger gem on it to show what a great catch they are and how they caught someone big. Right, so that is that's what I saw in this with my son. I thought that gives you an indication of where these girls are going. Who knows how long they've been playing the lesbian game, if they're in their early 20s. Since high school? Since the end of high school, the beginning of college? After college? It cracked me up to see these dissatisfied harpies. They were dissatisfied with each other. And they were in a really rockin' joint at a really cool location. You'd think that they would be extremely happy. But they're not. You know, these lesbians, in other words, are finding out that the grass is not greener where the carpet is trimmed short. Right, this I don't need a man crap, I'll just get a woman, cracks me up. Now, whether they're girls with girls because there's no available men, or because they think men are patriarchal assholes, and that the system is unfair, any way you look at it, all they've done is handicap themselves. Because they've taken the attitude, the same attitude that other women is, and that's that they don't need a man, and that they're smarter than the rest of us, and they're still unhappy. Still unhappy for it. The only bunch of men that I see out there, I shouldn't say the only bunch, the most notable bunch of small sector of men are the unengaged, unmarried, bachelor-type thinking Mgtow men who get as much sex as they want or no sex at all according to what they feel they need, right? They have as much work or as little work as they feel they need. They have as many material assets and liabilities as they feel they need. They eat, look, think as they need, as they wish, as they want. And they're the happiest group. Pleased with what they're doing, that is. And that's the Mgtow guys. It's men going their own way, whether they know it or not. Because they're not being restrained and held back by an anchor. Right? It is incredible to me to watch these lesbians think that they're getting a better deal because they're getting rid of men. They're getting that extra income that they think the man represents when they start a relationship with a woman, and they're finding out it just doesn't pan out. And on top of this, right, I saw that 2 nights ago, and then yesterday I saw a lesbian wedding photography session down by the water, and it just cracked me the fuck up. They want it to be normalized so bad. They want to replace the traditional male-female relationship because it's failed. And the thing is they are the ones that have forced it to fail. Women have forced the failure. And now they're putting themselves back in traditional relationships, as close as they can get, right? A woman-woman marriage. And they're putting themselves into that relationship in an effort to replace men. But wasn't it women that said that traditional relationships are bad? Right? That men are assholes, that they controlled women through traditional relationships? So what they're doing is they're marrying themselves, they're marrying their fucking dogs, they're marrying other women, they're marrying, I don't know, inanimate objects. It is incredible what they're doing in an effort to replace men, and they're not finding satisfaction anywhere. Anywhere. It's hilarious to watch. So the more they do that, the more they're going to encourage men to keep going their own way. And the more they hurt us through their ridiculous attempts at control and manipulation, all men, not just Mgtow man, the more they try and control all men, the more men are going to be discouraged at the prospect of hooking up permanently with one of these tarts. Because that's really what they are. They're a bunch of tarts, and it's all about money. It's all about control. It's all about taking care of themselves at your expense. So once again, it's interesting seeing the Japanese guy and his wife setting a very interesting example of how life actually works. How men know the way, and women, if they don't play that same way, have to run their little asses off to keep up. After 18 holes, in all truth, I was pretty impressed. She's been running a long time. Because it was a hot day. So that, that girl, she was working her butt off. If she had just stayed in the car with him and done as she was told, everything would have been fine. But she had to prove it to herself, right? She wanted to play the game and not play it well. And then the lesbians, they're playing another game, right? See if we can replace men with something better. We don't need a man. Well, you're going to find out exactly how that works. And seeing those two unhappy lesbians at the bar, they weren't happy at all, right? What was funny, though, is right next to them, the third one on the right, my son goes, "Hey, Dad, look at the one on the right." I go, "What's that?" He goes, "Well, she's really good looking." I said, "Yeah." He goes, I go, what do you see in there?" He goes, "Well, she's staring down the bartenders." I said, "Right, yeah, she's looking at other guys." He goes, yeah, she must be horny or something." I said, "Yeah, she's probably horny." He goes, "And she's drunk, too." I said, "Yeah, she's pretty lit. Her eyes aren't quite focusing right." I said, "Well, who's she with?" And he goes, oh, wait a minute. There's that guy behind her. He was standing behind her, right? She's sitting at the stool facing the bar. He was standing behind her, facing and talking to, looked like either his parents or her parents. So he's busy doing whatever he's doing, family, social shit, and she's busy trying to fill her eyes. She was shopping, right? Looking at potential whoring opportunities or monkey branching opportunities, depending on what her man did for a living. Anyways, it was quite interesting. It's not hidden. They don't hide it very well, these women. They're just right out there in everyone's faces for everyone to see. And unless you're Mgtow, I guess men don't pay any attention. They would see that drunk girl as an opportunity to get laid if the other guy drops the ball, instead of looking at her and seeing someone who's an opportunist. Yeah, she's a piece of ass today and she's an opportunist tomorrow. Not a good investment. Shouldn't even bother looking at her. Right? Quite fascinating. So you guys, Mgtow is freedom. Men going their own way is freedom. It's freedom for yourself mentally. Right? It's freedom for yourself mentally. To be able to think the way you want, go where you want in life, do what you want, and not be subjected to some social system that demands self-immolation. suicide, destruction, right? Men going their own way. It's your life. Live how you want, right? Make your own decisions. But just know that, right, it's you that's the one that's driving the cart. You know the way. You're the man. You have the penis, right? You guys be cool. Semper Fi. And thank you for everything that you guys do, helping each other in the comments section. I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.